Join me as I reveal the contents of my package. Greetings and welcome back to the Vodkast. I'm your host, as always, Jason Oliveira, and with us today is a package that came in the mail for me yesterday. It came from the company of Roasty Buds. Now, this could be one of two things. This could be weed, or it could be coffee, because those are usually the two things that buds are referred to. Unless you're friends with somebody, that's your bud as well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know which bud of mine sent me this. So let's bust into this and find out what it is for starters. And if it is what I think it is, then we're going to have to make some coffee. It is. Oh, Lord, what have I gotten myself into this time? Extra insane spicy Carolina Reaper pepper, whole beans. Rick, you are lucky that I have a grinder. Otherwise, I could avoid this today. But I'm going to go make some coffee now, and I'm going to let you know how hot this really is. I'm hoping it's not like, it's coffee. Coffee and hot Ancho hot chocolate is really good, but hot, well, let's find out. Well, I made it a little bit lighter than I would have liked. I forgot that I was using heavy whipping cream, which is what my wife uses. I normally would just use, well, I don't actually drink coffee that much anymore. But when I do drink coffee, I usually use like an almond milk creamer, usually a flavored almond milk creamer. Before I get going with the whole coffee thing, I realized this was such a huge, massive production this morning. Not a massive production. I had a shot list, though, and things I wanted to get done, so that when I put this together, you guys would end up with a pretty cool video. And through that process, I forgot the most important thing about all of this, and that is I wanted to thank Rick Brady for sending this to me and for always sending me hot and spicy things. I may not try all of them. However, I really appreciate it more than you'll ever know. So I'm going to let you guys get back and see my reaction to the coffee. But I did not want this video to end without me taking the... Yes, I do have editing lighting as opposed to filming lighting. That's... Now you know the behind the scenes there. Anywho, thank you, Rick, and back to me. Just to get my belly prepped and ready, I did take a famotidine, whatever those things are called, to hopefully ease the worries of my stomach later on. That soup that I had not a few days ago was really hot to the point where it came back to haunt me quite a bit later on in the day. It hurt. My stomach hurt really bad for about 6 or 8 hours on and off. I would not recommend that soup. It was delicious. I couldn't stop eating it, but the heat it's like a balance of weird heat and flavor, and you can't stop eating it. Anywho, speaking of heat, this is probably too hot for me to drink, but I'm going to go ahead and take a sip of this. I'm really hoping it's not super extremely hot, because I don't, it's coffee. Let's find out. Here we go. I assume if it's really, really hot, the effects will be pretty immediate because it's a liquid. I'm wondering if the cream and the honey that I used in this may have offset it a little bit. It's definitely tingly. Wow, that's fascinating. I kind of dig that. I didn't think I would, I thought it was going to be, first I thought, oh God, it's going to be super over-the-top spicy. It is not that. However, it does have a kick, and it's got a weird little tingle to it. If you've ever had that ancho chili hot chocolate, the Mexican ancho chili, it's such a neat experience to have. The first time I ever had it, I wasn't ready for it. I'd only had, hot chocolate. I'm like, it's not going to be spicy. It's a hot chocolate. And when you get that little tingle, it's kind of neat. And this is having that kind of same effect, but it's coffee instead of hot chocolate. You know, I didn't brew it strong through the Keurig only because I was afraid that might temper with stuff or do bad things. I don't even know what doing it as, what's the term I literally just used a second ago? Whatever, the dark roast one, whatever the longer, darker, deeper version of the brew is, then that is the one that I didn't go with. Perhaps I could have gone with it. That second sip was actually a little bit stronger than the first sip, so let's try a third sip and see if it increasingly gets hot or if it's just going to, level off at this point. I swear with every sip, my throat is getting hotter and hotter. The first sip had little to no effect. It kind of just was like, hey, I'm hot. Here I go. And then the second sip was like, hey, you remember how hot I was? All right, here I go. Third time was like, hey, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I'm kind of hot. And then like it's kind of lingering now. I can still feel it on the sides of my tongue. But I mean, in the world of spices and the things that I've eaten, I would have to say that this is like a 3 or a 4. The coffee itself is not a bad coffee. It's your basic run-of-the-mill coffee. There's nothing super like fancy about it. There's nothing super spectacular about it. Let me grab the bag. I know that there was some mention on the back, and I should probably talk about that. Hang on. In the process of opening the bag, it just kind of tore apart, which is kind of sad. What's that game that the kids are playing these days? The one they go on and they kill each other. Somebody's a killer and the other ones aren't. You got to figure out. I don't know who it is. Whatever that thing is, it reminds me of that. Okay, so extra hot, insane spicy, Carolina Reaper pepper, medium roast coffee. I do enjoy a medium roast, and as my palate has changed through the years, I have gotten into a darker roast, but medium is still just as good to me. I think you get a little bit more flavor, especially if it's something like this, whereas if you go with a dark roast or an espresso roast, which is what my wife usually drinks and what I drink now because I rarely drink coffee, you lose any kind of chance of throwing a good flavor in there, except for blueberry. Blueberry and dark roast go really well together. Come along on the coffee adventure. We think it's time for coffee to get more experimental, more fun, a little risky even. So join us, buds, on the taste journey and discover new flavors and styles. Every bag starts with the direct trade beans from select locations around the world. Then the handcrafting and flavor experimenting gets underway right here in Austin, Texas. Make new coffee friends and try all of our roasts at roastybuds.com. So if you're interested in checking this out, it's an interesting coffee. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. Before I leave you, I want to have one more sip, see how it is, and then I'll rate it overall. Now my mouth is just like, okay, we're used to this. We know what you're up to. Yeah, there you go. So I would have to say on a scale of coffee, I'd give it about 5. It's kind of a real basic. There's nothing fancy about the beans that really stood out to me. Nothing about the flavor that was really unique. It was just kind of coffee, which is fine because coffee is coffee. However, if your morning is a little boring, throw this in your old pot or in the Keurig. Maybe you're getting your coffee ready for your wife. Maybe you mix it up one morning. You throw that in there. She doesn't expect it. She's in the car. She's like, what the hell's going on in my mouth? You know what I'm saying? Anywho. Give it a whirl. Try other roasted buds. This is only their spicy one. I don't know if they only do spicy or if they do other flavors. But hey, they got a cute logo. Anyway, if you guys are loving the content I'm creating as much as I love creating the content that you guys are watching, would you please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and hitting the little bell icon because it'll let you know every time I put out a new video. Don't forget to make somebody smile today and make yourself a better person tomorrow than you are today tomorrow. Let's make the world spin a little bit happier and a little bit spicier together. Let's sing and dance in the sun and the rain as one, my brothers and sisters. Live life to the fullest and love every moment of it because you just never know when that last moment's going to come for you. You also never know if there's a gremlin in your house. However, never live in fear of that moment. Always live in love and never let your inner child die. Ooh-wee. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and take care of those around you who cannot take care of themselves, for they are the ones that need it the most. And if no one has told you today that they love you, the Vodkast loves you very much, just the way you are. All right, guys, do no harm. I'm Jason Oliveira. This is the Vodkast, and I'll catch you guys a little bit further on down the road. Take care, my friends, and happy adventuring.
Don't go to sleep with a catch it in your pocket.